Well, it took a little while to get going this morning. A dead battery in the car. But, hey, look at this. 9:01. We are spot on. Cody Morrison. Good morning, buddy.
Good morning.
Welcome to Aired Out. Welcome to the start of the work week. I'm glad to see you, buddy.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We're at -4 right now. -4. Going to be plenty of blue sky and sunshine, and it's going to be chilly for a little while. I think we're going to be warming up to the lower 20s, last I read, for today, which will be nice, which is going to feel like 80 compared to what it's been.
I'm all for it being in the lower 20s today.
I am too.
I'm all for it.
I am too. Hey, the very latest, I think they're cleaning things up by exit 7 right now, but the both on-ramp and off-ramp, exit 7, Berlin, closed, tractor trailer on fire, fully involved, and Berlin fire department up there dealing with it. I think they've got a little bit of mutual aid as well, but you're going to see the long stream of black smoke into the blue sky this morning by exit 7. So, and I hope that that everybody's okay. I don't know much more about the story other than what Raylene dropped this morning, but that's what we have. So avoid that area if you can. We're starting out the work week here with the news, and I don't know if you were paying attention last night to what was scrolling around on your phone, but over 100 people remain hospitalized in Vermont with coronavirus. And the number of state virus hospitalizations has been over 100 for more than 2 weeks now. 25 in intensive care. And 52 coronavirus deaths in the month of January, the third deadliest month from coronavirus. Those are some of the stories that are trending this morning. Two of the biggest stories in Vermont right now, and we're going to put up more information about that on our Aired Out Facebook page as soon as we get done this morning, along with a couple of other stories that are trending right now. But man, oh man. And, you know, I hate to start out with news like that, but we got to get it on. We got to tell people what's happening, Cody.
Yep.
So when it comes to coronavirus, we are far from out of the woods.
No, and everything that we're going to be talking about here today is impacted by COVID in one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. In some way. Isn't that amazing? It's like, oh my God, we're trying to, I don't know about you, but it's like, I'm just trying to find things to talk about that have no connection to COVID whatsoever. But there's something that leads back to it somehow.
I mean, we could talk about the granite industry from 100 years ago, but we'd probably be talking about influenza.
Right.
We'd be talking about the last
major,
a previous pandemic. But
I know.
I feel like a broken record. I'm always talking about the labor shortage, supply chain issues.
Yes, right.
And there's a labor shortage before COVID. There are labor issues before COVID, especially up here in the Northeast and in Vermont. But now that's just been blown out of the water. So
yeah.
But those are the number one issues that I hear coming from the business community.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you know, hey, look, we have some Vermont athletes that are in the Beijing Winter Olympics, so there's something that we could talk about. My gosh.
The Spalding girls hockey team, I think they're 10-1, 8-1.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're crushing it right now.
Thank you. We got the Los Angeles Rams going to be hosting the Cincinnati Bengals in Super Bowl 56.
So did you have that on your Super Bowl bingo board? The Bengals in the Super Bowl?
How did you know?
Crystal ball. I don't know.
Right.
Somebody in Ohio right now has probably made a lot of money.
Yes. I know. When the hell is the Super Bowl anyways? It's, 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah.
The 13th.
Yeah, it's
13th.
I believe so.
Yeah, February 3rd, day before Valentine's Day. So let's. I know that you and Raylene had some chat a while back about just kind of glancing in the rear view on the past year of 2021 and how Barre has grown. I know you've said in the past that we have lost some of our population in the Granite City. But for the most part, it seems like, and I'm not dialed into the business community like you are, but it just seems like there have been quite a few people who have really taken advantage of government programs to start up something that they may not have pre-COVID.
Well, before I dive into my boring business talk, Heather is pointing out that the Spalding wrestling team is doing wonderfully. They're crushing it right now.
Thank you, Heather.
So go Spalding.
Yes, thank you. So great to hear that.
I probably should admit on air that I wore a St. J Academy baseball jacket in here, though.
Don't say that.
But it's not Montpelier, though, so I guess I'm okay.
Yeah.
Or U32.
yeah, don't say that on the air.
Yeah, but last year, the economy in Barre just kept humming along.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pent-up demand right now, a lot of pent-up consumer demand from the pandemic. People are going out and buying a lot of things.
Yeah.
We mentioned workforce issues that's impacting supply chains. So there's not enough people to unload shipping containers at ports. There's not enough people to drive stuff from harbor to store. There's not enough people there to take stuff out of the trucks and to stock your shelves. There's not enough people to check you out at the grocery store. And
there's not enough people to take care of our elderly. If you watched my Facebook page last night, you'll see a whole hell of a lot of that.
But there's not enough people that can keep the cars running that people need to go and drive to the store.
Yep.
There's not enough healthcare workers that can help give you medical treatment. It impacts every part of the economy.
Hospitals right now they're just bursting at the seams.
Yeah, hospitals are being impacted. Yeah, and traveling nurses as well. That's a big area that's also impacting the housing market a little bit too.
$37 million spent on traveling nurses this past year.
In Vermont or the country?
Vermont.
In Vermont? Yeah, I believe it. Because you can make what, like $20-$30 an hour
Easily.
more if you're a traveling nurse.
Easily.
I mean, why wouldn't you get your RN and just do that for a few years, and maybe you want to save up to buy a house in your hometown, you work on the road for a few years and you come back.
Yep.
But the short-term rental market, the rental market has been strained a little bit, in part because of jobs like traveling nurses, traveling doctors. It can be more profitable for a private landlord to charge a premium for a short-term rental, maybe like a 3 to 6 month rental or like a 12-week contract or whatever.
Right.
But if you're a private business owner or private property owner, would it be more advantageous to rent your apartment for $1,200 to someone that's going to be here for a long time, or to rent it to somebody up at CVMC that's making $60 an hour for $1,600 a month that'll be here for 3 months?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to see how the medical field is shaping up right now.
Sure.
Whereas the structure is in place to get workers from pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
But healthcare is incredibly expensive as it is. I can't imagine that having to rely more heavily on labor that costs twice as much as it would have normally.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's trickling down to the consumer somehow.
I keep forgetting to tell you, so I'm going to tell you now because I just remembered. I am going to have some folks coming in from the homelessness task force who are going to be on the air real soon.
Yep.
So
awesome.
That'll be an interesting conversation, I think.
Yep.
But anyway,
going back, you mentioned population loss as well.
We're getting a lot of comments on that now.
I think the state of Vermont over the last census gained, I think, 2.2 or 2.8, somewhere in that range. Just a little over between 2 and 3% population increase. And Barre City lost 561 residents.
And it was 500 and change, but is that what it was? 561?
I think it was 561. And Barre Town.
In how long of a time?
What was the census? So the last decade. So theoretically, 2010 to 2020.
Okay.
Theoretically. And I think Barre Town lost one resident. However, though, our total population between the two Barres is still consistent. In the last census, you had the bigger micropolitan metropolitan areas, the Upper Valley and Chittenden County, and ski towns were the big winners. So you had little towns like Bolton, and you had little towns like Warren, and Stowe get a bunch of new residents. But then you also had like Colchester, St. Albans, White River Junction, Hartford. Some of those communities on the New Hampshire border, by the Lebanon, Hanover region. The Upper Valley's economy right now is booming as well. Dartmouth Hitchcock is growing. They have some manufacturing companies that are growing down there. Hypertherm's a good example of one of them. But those were the biggest trend lines with population over the last decade, and I think Barre City had the second highest population loss after Rutland City. But the Barre area, Barre Town, Barre City's population has remained consistent right around the 16 to 18,000 person range for quite a while now. If you look at the statistics about probably 100 years ago, 100 years ago, you'd see Barre City had over 10,000 people, and then people gradually started moving to the town or some of the other surrounding communities.
More and more people are making more decisions about where they move to, where they go, based on one word: taxes. And that's what I'm hearing. I mean, it's like I can't have a conversation with anyone saying, we're thinking about moving here or there. It doesn't even matter. I'm not even talking about just Vermont, but certainly Vermont, town to town, taxes.
Yeah.
What's it cost to live there?
Yeah.
More than anything else, more than how beautiful is it, anything. It's taxes, and here we are.
Yeah,
here we are in the thick of it, man. And it's like this is the time. 'Tis the season for asking yourself if your local politicians are doing a good job supporting your business, your community. Are they really supporting small business needs? And I think there's going to be a whole hell of a lot of chat about it. There already is. But it is the closer and closer we get to the beginning of March, we're a month away.
Well, if you look at upcoming in May as well, Barrytown they host their town meeting day in May. So right now they're just starting their budget season, or they're gearing it up now. But the next couple months are really going to do a lot in dictating the direction of services towards the business community. Yeah. You have a town manager, Carl Rogers, who just announced his retirement after 30 years. Steve McKenzie, he's the city manager here down in Barre City.
When's his last day?
So he is, as of right now, he's going to be working through the end of the fiscal year, so until like July.
Okay.
But someone like Steve, I don't think he's going to completely go.
Yeah,
ever.
I heard September, but whatever.
I mean, maybe does that deadline? I mean, I don't think Steve has a hard deadline. You'd probably have to ask the city council what they want on that. I haven't been in those conversations too much, but from as far as I know, it's going to be sometime this summer.
Yeah.
But the next slate of elected official, or next slate of local elected officials, are going to be picking not only the next city manager and the next town manager, but are also going to have ARPA to work with. Yeah. There's 2.3 in Barrytown, 2.5 in Barre City, $1 million.
Is that what it is?
I'm pretty sure that's what the number is. But
it's a great problem to have.
It's a great problem to have, but the money goes away very quickly, though.
Sure, it does.
$2.3 million, $2 million sounds it would absolutely change our lives forever. Sure. Whereas in our North Main Street, our wastewater pump station up there,
right?
That might be a $500,000 project when it's all said and done,
right?
And that's just.
And now
that's one part. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to do,
and now we've got more and more Vermont towns starting to test their wastewater for COVID-19. So there's another expense that's going to be added to it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that part works.
Saw that last night.
Yeah. But the next mayor, the next city council, the next select board, they're going to have a lot of big issues to work with. And
understatement.
And I think Steve Pappas hit the nail on the head the other day. Is they're going to have the next mayor is going to have to be able to call the administration and be able to work with the governor and say, hey, I need money for this project, or I need this. Whoever it is, they're going to have to be able to work across the aisle. They're going to have to build relationships and maintain them. Yeah. And there's going to be a lot of big issues to address in the coming years.
I feel like this at least 2022 is going to be more of a full-time job being the mayor of any community than ever before. I don't care where you are.
And that's why
I don't care what state you're in.
And that's what's been nice about the last probably 16 years of mayoral leadership we've had.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't here when Tom Lozon was mayor, but I'm sure he put more than 40 hours a week into the job. Just knowing Tom, some people are just built differently.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tom put more than 40 hours a week into the job, and Lucas was everywhere. He's on every committee.
And Lozon's still married. That's the amazing thing.
And he's still married. That's
amazing.
Right. That's right.
That Karen has put up with that.
Yeah.
Incredible.
But Lucas was on. He's involved with a lot of American Legion Veterans Day or veterans issues. He was on the Granite City 5K board. It seems like he's on every single board or committee or task force, and he's everywhere.
Yeah.
The guy. He has a pretty consequential job working IT.
Yeah,
of course. Require, if one system goes down, you have to jump right to it. It's a very sudden, high demand job, and it's a very technical job as well. Mm-hmm. So the skill set that he brought to this, being an IT guy, but also having the skill, the political skill, the social skill, and the interest in being a mayor and doing it successfully for 2 terms, it's pretty remarkable.
Is BADC going to get any ARPA?
Well, we are a sidewalk that needs repair. We're not a wastewater pipe that may need some patching or upgrading. Mm-hmm. We're not a house that needs some renovation, so we probably won't, because there's a lot of infrastructure and housing needs that need to be done. Will we have a say, and will we be involved in some of the distribution of funds? That remains to be seen. I know we're on the housing task force right now, and we're working. I know I'm specifically working on the resource subcommittee. We're also I'm on the workforce issue subcommittee, and I know David Sickle, who's the chair of the committee, is actually our secretary of our board. So, and we have a couple of our other board members that are going to be joining the task force, hopefully next month. Mark Browning, you know Mark Browning from Stone Browning Property Management.
Sure.
Jen Galfetti, she's the CFO up at Union Mutual up in Montpelier, but she also owns property here in Barre City. So, we're going to be involved, with the housing part of it. But what I know, the Treasury released some updated guidance that added more flexibility. So ARPA isn't going to be a thing that goes away in a year. You have until 2026 to spend the money. So
we'll be fighting.
Things are going to be
we'll be fighting for a couple of years.
And additionally, with supply chain issues and labor issues. Again, broken record. That's going to impact ARPA, because all of a sudden, if you have communities that are trying to replace water systems and sidewalks and are trying to build a bunch of houses or replace houses, somebody's going to be there to swing the hammers.
Right.
Government can't just say, okay, we want to cut $1 million check and here you go.
Right.
Now it magically happens. This summer, if you were Barslow Construction, or if you were EF Wall, or if you were any Johnson Paving, Carroll Concrete, if you were any one of those companies, and you were looking for bids, and you're probably going to start looking for the spring because you want to fill up your schedule for the upcoming construction season. Tom Lozon recently made the point on the Barre Beat. You're going to be going out for the big dollar contracts.
Yeah.
Are you going to be going to repair every 240 little outlet, or hook up every little outlet, or are you going to be looking to do every roof job, every little residential roof job, or are you going to be going for the big fish where you can essentially name your price from the state of Vermont?
Right.
So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult over the upcoming years, and I think there's going to be probably some disappointment in how quickly some of these dollars can get out the door.
Yeah.
Because giving allocating money, government's great at taking money. Government has a very specific process and system set up to take money. They are, you pay your property taxes every quarter. You pay your parking fees. You pay your parking tickets. Carol Dawes or Tina Lunt, they'll take your checks and they'll account for them, but giving money is a harder thing for a government to do.
It sure is.
So that comes with a whole different set of liability, an extra set of liability and process and regulations and compliance and reporting. When has your local government ever called you and said, I want to give you money?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen too often. So there's going to be a ton of communities that are getting these ARPA funds that are that have to develop systems of how to distribute them.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that the city and the town of Barre that's one thing that the next city manager, the next town manager, the next mayor, council, and the next select board and the next select board chair are going to have to try to solve. How do we get rid of the money in the most equitable way, and how do we do it based off of the needs of the community?
Yeah.
But how can we remain competitive? Inflation with construction projects, it's going to happen this summer.
Yeah. Inflation is up the highest, I think, in 40 years now. 40 years, 7%, 7% and change maybe.
Yeah,
which is just huge.
I mean, the economy for a while is going to be a chicken with its head cut off that's all hopped up on espresso. It's going to be running and hitting walls in weird directions and running at 1,000 miles an hour.
One of the big stories that is coming out this morning is that drug makers have increased 6.6% just in the first 31 days.
Well, and it's not
of
just
2022.
It's not just through vaccines as well, but it's also think of the mental health issues that have come throughout the pandemic. I would imagine that those that make antidepressants or anxiety medications have probably been subscribed to a little more.
Anyone who's got young children can probably relate to this, but when this whole coronavirus first started, we said, well, hopefully Lily will be able to have this in the rearview mirror someday. But we're now saying that there's going to be residual effects of COVID-19 it's just going to permanently change the landscape of the whole world for the rest of her life now. She won't be able to live I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say here. To live her life without being impacted in some way, directly or indirectly, from COVID. It is a permanent change. And I'm mostly referring to mental health here.
Absolutely.
It's going to be around forever, man. Forever.
Oh, absolutely. You're not going to be getting away from it.
Yeah.
But that's going to be her. That's going to be coming out of this is going to be the challenge of her generation.
Yeah.
It's a challenge of my generation.
Sure. I'm seeing the trend of that's made it in the news. The trend of job seekers and what the millennials, the millennial job seekers, and how they are attempting to take control of their careers and look for positions that meet their professional, their personal needs, their financial needs, and how this labor shortage is going to recoil here. This great resignation that's going on right now, where people are saying the hell with this. I've been pushed to my limit here, and this new trend, Cody, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but people are quitting their jobs on social media.
No, the great resignation.
Yeah, I mean, we've all
absolutely.
lost our damn minds. I mean, we're going live on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and quitting our jobs and blowing the whistle on, our toxic work environments. And I mean, there's even a list of hashtags now that's connected to all this and what people are willing to do with their life. I mean, we're basically hitting the reset button on everything, including our resumes.
Yep.
And we're shopping. We're shopping for how can I make the most money working something that is most convenient for me and my family and has the most perks, whether it be work from home or maybe a hybrid model of working from home. It's unbelievable. And as a matter of fact, I've just seen one of the job boards that's out for the nation with the top 20 most popular careers that people are going after and what the average pay is for those. I'm going to list it all out. I'm going to post it up on the Aired Out page as soon as you and I are done today. But, man, people are – it's – back in the old days, if you were a plumber, that's what you did, and that's you stayed in your wheelhouse. And now, or whatever, healthcare worker, it doesn't matter. And now people are saying, "The hell with this! I'm going to try something new. I'm going to just unplug and start over."
And that's a beautiful thing. That's a great thing. Back now versus you mentioned back in your day. Information is much more easy to attain now. You can go on TikTok, or you can search and learn about different careers. You can hear testimonials. You can see job opportunities from any profession, from anywhere in the world. And in respect to people quitting their jobs, employees have more leverage in the labor market right now than they did.
Sure.
Anytime in our lifetimes.
Sure. Example, just locally here, within our three local nursing homes, we've got young adults who have born and raised right here, went to VTC, got their LNA certificate, and they're making significantly less than some of the traveling nurses who are working right next to them, doing the same things. And I've talked with a couple of them who are like, you know what? I got a girlfriend. We've been together for a long time. We don't have any kids. Why wouldn't we just pull the plug and do the same thing? Be smart. Do the same thing that they're doing. Be traveling nurses. We don't care if we go to Nebraska.
Yeah,
it's crazy, dude.
The knowledge that you and I grew up with, and how to lead a successful, middle-class, secure lifestyle, the nuclear family, 2.5 kids, white picket fence, a dog in a yard.
Yeah,
it's not the reality today.
Right.
Right now,
I grew up with stay where you are. Longevity is so important on your resume.
Yep, and and you can make money doing many things right now. You can be a YouTuber.
Yeah,
you can make $1,000 a month.
That's right.
Showing people how to build fires.
I know.
Or just,
whatever.
Like how to iron your shirt, how to redo your floor, how to change your oil. You can content creation
and gig jobs are huge
absolutely. Too. DoorDash. People are willing to pay for things. People like accessibility of things. That's why things like DoorDash are big. That's why, honestly, YouTube is one of the world's, I think, the world's biggest streaming service right now.
Yeah.
It started with pay-per-view and on-demand back 15 years ago or so. Comcast, Spectrum.
Yeah.
They would have that, but now people want things and they want it right now. So
that's right.
You can go and
it's an on-demand world, brother.
Like neither of us can believe that the Bengals are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So if I want to see proof of that and I want to watch highlights, I don't have to wait for it to show up on ESPN whenever. I can just hop right online.
And if you want to watch it watch it online with your Big Mac and fries, you get DoorDash and bang, it's right there wherever the hell you are.
Oh yeah, but
anyway,
but right now, the labor market is changing, and it's going to be up to the private sector to adjust. Successful companies are able to do that whenever there are fluctuations in the market, and COVID and the labor market is no different. And with employee loyalty is very much changing. Especially with younger generations. Gen Xers had it pretty good. Baby Boomers had it phenomenally. Millennials and Gen Zers, not really.
Yeah.
No. My generation, we saw 9/11 happen, so we saw 3,000 people die on TV one day, and nothing got better ever since. Hurricane Katrina happened. We had a Great Recession, subprime mortgage crisis. The worst economic catastrophe since the Great Depression. Then a dozen years later, we get another one.
2008.
We get a once-in-a-century pandemic that stops the world.
Yeah.
And so, the old ideas of employee retention and just being thankful just to have a job are constantly changing. With entry-level jobs, why is it just the employee that has to prove to the employer that they want to stay there?
Right.
If you're working at Dunkin' Donuts, if you're working at McDonald's, if you're working in a granite shed, people just want some appreciation. People want their employer to work to retain them just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a ton to ask for.
Right.
And
it's a two-way interview now. It's a two-way interview.
It's a two-way street. Absolutely. It's an amazing time to be an entry-level worker.
Yeah.
And but a lot of people with COVID, they got laid off one day, or they got furloughed, they got sent home.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of time. Maybe they're getting unemployment. Maybe they're able to get that. Maybe Department of Labor is able to get their checks out to them appropriately, which we know didn't happen in every case.
Yeah.
But people sat home and had a lot of time to think about the labor market. Another big thing is in this country, health insurance is tied to your job. So when they get furloughed, obviously they're going to lose that as well.
Yeah.
So people are being very entrepreneurial in how they approach the workplace now, and just wondering, how can I best protect myself? How can I best set myself up?
Sure.
There is an article I was reading the other day that outlined now that Gen Zers are getting into the workplace and they're starting to take some leadership positions of their own. What are the working habits, and what are the personality quirks versus millennials?
Yeah.
And millennials, we still my generation, we partially grew up in that pre 9/11 America, where everything was sunshine and roses. The 90s obviously had their issues, but
the music was shit in the 90s.
Oh, the music was awesome in the 90s.
No. What? Anyway,
we can't be friends, JD. Oh my goodness.
We're gonna have to get some counseling.
Okay, Boomer.
But yes,
Gen Zers are they're going to be more frugal. They're going to be more entrepreneurial. They're concerned about job security.
Yeah.
They're concerned about happiness as well, but job security is at a forefront of their thinking.
We're seeing more and more people supplement their income with side things, even small business.
I mean,
side,
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because people are willing to pay for random services.
Yeah.
But think about it. If you're 20 years old and you've already lived through 2 once-in-a-century economic crises, it's probably going to shape your thinking a little bit. We've all heard the story about our grandparents who lived through the Great Depression, who would
walk to school both ways uphill.
Well, not as much that, but would save their sugar packets from restaurants, and that are incredibly frugal because they went through the Great Depression.
Sure.
Some of those attitudes and some of those characteristics are still going through, are being felt by Gen Zers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm thinking of, and I know we've talked. Is it Margaret Ferguson? Who is it? Over at Capstone. Why am I drawing a blank here? What's her name?
Margaret Ferguson. Yeah, over at
Capstone. And what she's doing for our community, teaching people, offering free marketing courses and how to start up something on the side, whether it's crafting or whatever it is that you're doing. I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Everything they've got going on over there is
absolutely
great.
So, they have a micro business program.
Yeah, it's incredible.
No, that's terrific. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow your business, but you need help like writing a business plan or putting together, like you just said, putting together a marketing plan, you can call Capstone Community Action. You can call Margaret Ferguson over there, and she can help get you set up and walk you through some of that stuff. And little things like that are what help make you lendable as a business. So
sure.
You can then go over to Northfield Savings Bank, or you can go over to Community National, or even Community Capital right down the road here. And because you have a business plan, you have a few things in motion, then that makes you more likely to be able to get a business loan. Then you can start your business. You can occupy one of these storefronts here, and you can live happily ever after.
Sure. Speaking of storefronts, which one do you want to talk about? I'm going to let you go first, but I wanted to ask you.
Which storefront do I want to talk about?
Well, I was going to ask you.
I went to Made in Brazil pretty recently and had an amazing lunch there. 81 North Main Street in the old Project Independence building.
Yeah.
Right in between the Salvation Army and Green Tax Service.
Yeah. Yes, which is also new.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is a terrific business. A couple of young entrepreneurs from Brazil that moved up here a couple of years ago and have been growing their business ever since. And
cool.
They're new. They're delicious. Go check them out. And we also have another new company, the Concord Group. They're an insurance agency.
Yeah.
They had a bigger building up on Airport Road up in Berlin.
Yeah.
And they have since, they're like many companies, they're examining their physical footprint, and they are looking to get into a smaller space. So they're able to move right over into the Blanchard block. They're over there on the 3rd floor. They're bringing about 5-6 jobs over there.
Wonderful.
But that's good. It's more activity over there.
Yeah, just walk in, make an appointment if you can, but walk in and discuss any insurance needs that you have.
Yep. And Delicate Decadence is doing well. Tim Bolton's running a great business over there. He's always got half a dozen.
He's insanely busy.
I don't understand that business model.
I don't either.
Terrific. He's doing a terrific job.
I'll tell you, none of it's fat-free
No.
right off. But my God, is it good. Holy crap.
Nelson's right across the street here. They're still doing well. They're expanding. They're over in the former pool world space right now.
Yeah. Emsley's is kicking ass. I don't know if you've been in there lately, but oh my God, you walk through the doors, you could smell the flowers out in the parking lot.
Well, with COVID, what do you do when you can't see your loved one?
That's it.
Send them flowers.
That's it. And we'll say this: Valentine's Day is coming up on Monday, the 14th. If you haven't contacted Emsley's yet to reserve your flowers, guys, I'll say it straight up. Get your shit together. Stop thinking about the Super Bowl and concentrate on Valentine's Day. Okay? There. I feel better now.
Yeah, those guys.
Because we have to do that, man. We can't forget about
those
that.
guys. Probably aren't going to sleep for at least until March.
Yeah, and I know that Emsley's probably doesn't want the slogan "Get your shit together" tagged and connected to them, but that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm sure whatever brings them business, they're fine with whatever terminology is used.
If you have your head in your ass and you think that the day before Valentine's Day you're going to be able to no-brainer secure a dozen roses over at Emsley's, or you're missing the boat here. That's my plug for Emsley's. I love those guys over there.
True.
What's going? Can I ask you? And if I can't,
I don't know.
say no. You can't ask me,
we'll
and
see.
Is change the subject quickly.
I might dodge it.
Can I ask you what's going on with? And I have asked you this in the past. Soups and greens. Is there anything new? Are there people sniffing over there? What's happening?
So if you would like to open a restaurant, then. And you want to go into the former Soups and Greens space, very popular space, 37 years. Doug ran a terrific business over there.
Yes,
he did. A regional favorite. If you would like to...
Don't call Doug in the morning, by the way. He's sleeping in right now.
No, he's on the slopes right now. Yeah, he's he's a hardcore skier.
I'm just saying, don't disturb him. He's busy
he sold his business. He doesn't own the building.
Don't call him.
Yeah, he doesn't own the building.
He's busy.
But the space is available right now. So if you would like to open, if you'd like to open your own restaurant, you can go to Pomerleau Real Estate. You can look them up, and you can go right in. I'm looking for the listing right now, so I can drop it in the link. But the space right now, rent is about $4,300 a month plus utilities, and it's an end cap space, so it's a little higher profile. I know that there's some equipment, some chairs and stuff that will have to be purchased to open the property. But spaces like that, plazas like that, typically are looking to attract national chains like a Five Guys or just Denny's, that type of thing. So they partner with Pomerleau because they focus more on that national plaza. Business retention part. So my guess is that's the direction that they're going in. However, though, if anyone wants to start, wants to get that space and they want to open up, then they are more than able to.
You're talking about Soups and Greens.
Yep, Soups and Greens.
I mean, the parking alone is exceptional there.
Yep.
And you're right on the artery up to the auditorium. I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, you've got people... Okay, there it is. People are going up there all the time from outside of Vermont for various events. It's great visibility. Yeah. However, though, there are other opportunities if you want to open a restaurant. I hear quite often, I get calls from outside of Barre City about people hoping there's going to be another breakfast restaurant coming back in. Do you want to open one?
No.
Is
that a quick enough answer?
No.
When I do breakfast, it's at my house in the morning with Lily, Saturdays and Sundays especially, and we kick ass. But that's it. That's the extent of it.
But you've got
the restaurant business is not easy, bud.
No.
It's not easy.
No, it is not easy. But there are a couple breakfast options right now. At the Reynolds House Inn, you got a young guy by the name of Craig Locarno who's doing Sunday brunch over there. And they seem to be doing well from what I'm hearing.
When did that start? I want to do that.
Oh, that started back in the fall, I want to say.
All right.
But yeah, Sunday morning.
I'm writing that down right now.
Sunday mornings, you can head over there and you can get a nice Sunday. Yeah, you can get a nice breakfast over there. You can also go to Delicate Decadence. You've got Maria's Bagels, Kitty Corner Cafe, Espresso Bueno. So there are plenty of coffee shops and little bakeries that you can get breakfast at. So there certainly are options here. But the real estate part, you mentioned the empty storefront part. Opening a restaurant is okay. Renita says that the brunch is amazing. Good.
Yeah. She said absolutely amazing.
Oh,
you forgot that.
It's a key point. It's important.
Yeah.
No. Okay. All right. I'll take Renita's word. Take Renita's word for it. But if you want to open a restaurant, it's relatively difficult to retrofit space just to get it up and going. So let's say if you have like a big fry later, then there's some. If you're doing some hardcore cooking, you're going to need a hood vent just to make sure that that air can get out and it can be safe.
Is the old L&M building, the inside of that, is it still set up for? God, I love it. So many of us miss that place.
So that building has pretty much everything that you need to run a restaurant. That's got the hood vent. That's got the couple tiered sinks. That's got the dishwashers. It even has the pots and pans and the cups and the silverware. So it wouldn't take much for somebody to go in there, and I believe there's some roof work that has to be done in there. They'd probably throw a fresh coat of paint on it, or just refurbish the inside. It wouldn't take much.
And there's some great incentives to do that right now.
Absolutely. Yep. We got, Barre Area Development. We have a loan program for job creation. The city has a tax stabilization policy. There's entrepreneurial grants that are out there right now. The Embrace program that we have mentioned every week for the last month. That one's out there. There's plenty of capital and there's plenty of opportunities right now if someone wanted to go in and do it. But,
big time. But
the reason why that space is a good opportunity is it's hard to, with supply chain issues right now, if you wanted to go and buy like a hood vent and you needed to buy like a industrial, components to create an industrial kitchen, you might be waiting a while.
Right.
You might be waiting a while. Yeah.
And Soups and Greens is all set up for that. They've got.
So they sold some of the equipment before they left. So I believe the chairs, the booths, I believe those are made in Brazil right now. Actually.
Wow.
So a bunch of that equipment was auctioned off before Soups closed. So in addition to the lease price, which is $12 a square foot, and it's a 3,500 square foot space.
Sure.
And taxes, utilities, you'd have to purchase equipment.
Do we have any franchises sniffing around Barre?
So with franchises, nothing that I've heard. We've approached a few, and we've reached out. But with franchises,
because you've got a wall separating Barre Optical. And Soups and Greens.
But another issue that I'm hearing with national restaurants and companies of that nature are some of them are apprehensive and a little hesitant to open up right now just because of staffing issues.
Right. Of course.
I mean, the restaurant, the service industry is getting uniquely hit by our labor shortages right now just because of the pay scale. A lot of people don't want to work for. I think it's $5 over $6 an hour now, which is terrific.
Yeah.
But a lot of people know that there are plenty of job opportunities out there.
Right. Before I forget, Lackey's Flooring.
Yep.
So cool.
Yep. So Lackey's Flooring, they're opening up on East Barre Road.
Just past Dollar General.
Yep, just past Dollar General, just past the old Village Cannery site. So
on 302.
Yep. So I think it's a United Steelworkers Union building that they purchased.
Yeah.
Who I heard has moved down to the Labor Hall.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
we have another new business in Barre City.
Very cool.
Which is pretty cool. But going back to the restaurant part, though, the diner is. It's a great opportunity for somebody if they wanted to open up a restaurant just because everything's there that you really need to open one. You're going to have to put a little sweat equity into it, but would it be easier to do some building renovations than it would be to buy a hood vent and other stuff that's going to have to be like special ordered and it may take 6 months? Who knows? And that's the issue that I come across with we've had 2 restaurants that have opened up right in downtown over the last year, and a third one, Mulligan's, that did a huge renovation. So the restaurant industry is spending money right now.
Yeah, right.
Pearl Street Pizza, Made in Brazil.
Right.
Like the restaurant industry hasn't shut down. Contrary to what people think, their restaurants are opening, bars are opening. But it's one thing to pay a lease price. A company can get over that, but the equipment can be a difficult thing. So we monitor auction sites, and we pay attention to when other restaurants will close.
Right.
Rich over at the Cornerstone pub, he gave me a great lead on one restaurant that's shutting down in Vermont that may have a lead on some equipment. But that space and the Gunner Brook Deli on East Montpelier Road, that's another one that's pretty much turnkey that would be ready for a restaurant. But you're right outside of the downtown if you're okay doing that. But if you wanted to open up like a takeout type business, that would be a perfect place to go out and do it.
I want to hit on anything that you want to hit on before we close out so that we're not forgetting anything.
Let's see. Do we have any questions?
Well, I wanted to ask you about the marketing initiative for BADC and how that's going. Specifically, I know Vermont Business Magazine is you guys are connected with very much, but specifically outside of Vermont's border.
Yeah, so we've had companies from outside of Washington County that have reached out to us. There was one very recently. Our last ad, they called us. They're looking for industrial space. So, so we've been a lot this past month. I've been very busy reaching out with to our property owners, our landlords, our developers, just to see what's out there for inventory. So these are the people like Tom Lozon, like Pat Malone, E.F. Wall, the people that own commercial property down here that can find, that can house a business.
Yeah.
So we've had a few companies reach out to us through our Vermont Business Magazine expenditures, which right now I think I'm working with 3 companies that have resulted in leads from our advertising, from our marketing, and we've actually had companies reach out to us because of this show.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah, because of the show, and that's usually more downtown.
Yeah.
And business activity between the town and the city certainly vary. There's usually going to be more industrial warehousing type of activity up in the town.
Right.
However, South Barre is emerging, continues to grow as a little retail destination or a little retail center. Whereas in Barre City, there is some industrial activity, there is some warehousing activity, but there's far more entrepreneurial, retail, small businesses with less than 5 employees, service organizations, mental health clinicians, nonprofits, things of that nature. So we've had a nice mix
that could be eligible for the Embrace grant. A little plug there.
Yep, it could be eligible for the Embrace grant.
Of course.
But another big, with the marketing program, with the Barre Rock Salt Initiative, a big part of it is also education and letting people know what is here about Barre. Shannon Alexander.
Sure.
Shannon Alexander is in part a shared service between the Barre Partnership and BADC. She's on a monthly retainer through both of us, and
Do you and Tracy fight over her?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, we're both lucky to have her.
All right.
No, Shannon has done a ton for this community and just helping to tell the story of our businesses, our attractions, and really just provide a
She's
glimpse.
The eyes.
Really provide a glimpse into this community that we would never see otherwise. So she makes our jobs just a lot easier. It's a very collaborative.
Damn straight.
We're lucky to have her.
And I've seen your photography, and it's atrocious. So
iPhone's all right.
No, I'm just saying it's not Shannon quality.
Well, Nikon versus an iPhone.
Well, she's creative as hell.
A race car is faster than a tractor. but Shannon does a tremendous job. She has the creative eye that I don't. Tracy does, but I don't have nearly as creative as an eye as Shannon does.
Tracy's pretty good.
Have you seen the downtown calendars?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all done with photography from Shannon.
Yeah.
And if you go on our website, barrevt.com, the photography in our top collage is going to be from Shannon. So if you go on that website right now, you'll see, I think it's a winter scene overlooking the Barre City Elementary School. That's a pretty cool shot.
Yeah.
But
She's not a huge fan of going up in the JLG lifts and the cherry pickers, but she does. She snapped some great shots this past summer.
Oh, absolutely.
Up at the History Center. Did you see those pictures?
Oh, yeah.
My God. Amazing. Anything else for today, for this week? What's your week looking like?
You
need to pull up your calendar.
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of reports.
Yeah.
A lot of reports. We got we have our quarterly update to the city council coming up soon. We've got a budget request and presentation to get ready for up in Barre Town. A lot of follow-up, a lot of calling, a lot of follow-up with companies, and so a lot of activity. We have our interns in this week. So we have
from Spalding.
Yep. So we
let's throw some love at them.
Yeah. So we the partnership in BADC partnered with Spalding High School's work-based learning program to provide internships for. We now have. We had we had 2 students last semester. With a new semester starting, we got 1 new one, and another one is gone. So we've had 3 so far in total.
Can we get them in here?
Yeah,
all
if
right.
They want to. I'd have to ask them.
All right.
We're not gonna fire them if they don't, though.
All right.
But they've been doing a lot of work for us, and one of them is working on a welcome packet right now that can be given to new businesses and new residents.
Sure. Which is, I think, essential.
Yep, and another one is working right now for the Heritage Festival. Is doing some organizing for that. And I had one of our interns recently. I told you about the rock climbing business.
Yes.
God, I had him do some research. We're trying to find potential homes for it and potential parties that would want to partner in that. So we're giving him some cool. We're giving him some cool work, but. It's been awesome working with the kids because they're very creative, they're very adaptable, and we barely have to tell them anything. They just pick projects up and run with them. They do such a great job.
So there could be an indoor rock climbing gym
if we find someone that wants to. In
the Granite City?
Could be.
Well,
hopefully. Be great.
We're not talking like some mamsy-pamsy little 10-foot wall either. We're talking about an indoor rock climbing gym.
Depends.
Like they've got out in Colchester and Burlington and Rutland.
That part's to be determined, but hopefully.
Yeah, I'd like to get those interns on the air if we can. That would be cool.
I think so.
That'd be cool. What else are we forgetting anything other than the fact that today is Monday? And, of course, you know what that means. That means the Barre Beat is live at 7 o'clock tonight. Get on the Barre City Community fan page on Facebook.
Yep.
For Michael Booton and Rich Morey. They'll be doing their thing tonight at 7 o'clock. I can't remember who the hell they're going to have on the show, but I know they're promoting it on
they're going to have Counselor Reel.
Thank you.
They're going to have Michael Deering Jr.
Oh, Deering's on tonight?
Yeah, and they're running for, I think it's Ward 3.
Oh.
Yeah, they're running for a city council in Ward 3.
Nice.
And that's the areas of like Prospect Street and going out pretty much behind Main Street out that way.
Nice. One of these nights, they don't know it yet, but one of these nights I'm going to come in here and I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably streak. But I
probably wouldn't do that.
No, I'm going to.
I probably wouldn't come.
No, it won't be on camera, but it'll be.
I mean, whether it's on camera or not, I still probably wouldn't do that.
It's going to throw them so hard out of gear, they're going to be completely derailed for the rest of the night. I'm going to do something. I don't know what, but
yeah, I'd probably.
All I'm saying,
clothed.
All I'm saying is April 1st is 2 months away, and I'll leave it at that. Right?
April Fool's Day is.
Yeah.
March 1st is a month away, and that's when the municipal election is.
Yes.
In Barre City.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So maybe I'll wait until after that. Thanks for coming in, bro. I always love chatting with you.
If you get arrested for streaking, don't put me as your emergency contact.
No, nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to emergency contact. Thanks for coming in, buddy.
Yeah, good seeing you.
I love chatting with you on Mondays. And man, look at our presenting sponsor list is growing. We now have the Cornerstone, Rich McSheffrey, and the rest of his team over there. They're with us now. Emsley's Florists and Gifts is back as a presenting sponsor. We got to get DJ and Kate in here pretty soon. Talk flowers. DJ always smells so good when he comes in here. Giroux General Transport. Bill Haynes, he's going to be in here too. We're going to be talking about truck driving again, CDL licensing. Gosh, and every time I think of that, I always think about what if I could go back and relive my life again? Would I be a truck driver? I mean, it's the amazing industry that is so much in need right now. Fontaine Forestry and Millworks, who never stops if it's cold out. They busting their butts over there so much. Green Mountain Mulch, Fecto Homes. Have you following Fecto Homes at all? Yep. The Beckley Hills Meadows, they're kicking ass over there. I mean, they're not stopping when it's 10, 15 below.
No, I'm trying to give Jim more work, actually.
They're moving. They already have their mindset of, we can't be distracted with these cold temperatures. Spring is tomorrow. We need to stay ahead of the 8 ball here. And they're just blasting. I love them. Fecto Homes. Been around since, 1970, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah, long time. Wait a minute. I'm dating myself here. Salvador and Babic. Lozon's going to be in here real soon to talk taxes, which is way out of my wheelhouse.
That is a hot topic right now.
I know, but I don't know anything about it. So I'm going to be asking a ton of stupid-ass questions, which I know he'll have some simple answers to. But, yeah. Anyway, that's coming up soon. Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce, also one of our sponsors. Look at their page. They're getting like 500 hits a day. They're blasting. I love them.
Yeah, Kevin's doing a good job up there.
The whole team. Tanya and everybody up there. I mean, they're just working so hard. Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce. If you're not a member, frankly, I don't know why. You ought to be, especially if you're a small business. Get in touch with them. Barre Area Development, the guy that's sitting right across from me. FGB Theaters. This is like, we're already mapping out what movies we're going to be seeing. Lily is already asking me what movies are we going to watch on February break. So we'll be at the Paramount and the Capitol Showplace, both theaters, eating popcorn, getting fat with concessions, and staying warm over at FGB Theaters. Gusto's, got to get over there for lunch. I don't know if you've had lunch there anytime soon, but the food is amazing.
Oh,
amazing. Their menu is crazy.
I've walked over there for lunch before. And yeah, that's awesome.
Raylene and I got to get over there and get some lunch soon. CW Creative, got to chat with the ladies over there about some new marketing stuff, some ideas that I have.
I've used their printers on business recruitment trips before.
I'm way overdue. That's on my list for this week. CW Creative. Vermont Custom Woodworking. Haven't been in touch with Eric Miller in a little while, but I would love to have him back on the show and talk about the incredible woodworking that he does. He made the desk here that we're sitting at. ASB Financial, which is where our studios are, at 185 North Main Street in Barre, right across from Nelson's. Barre Montpelier, Times Argus. Steve Pappas was just in here this past Friday. He'll be on again this week. We'll let you know when. Donnybrook Fight Promotion with the Battle in Barre 6 coming on February 19th. My God, that's like 20 days away. Wow. Wood Doodles. We love them. Just posted up something about them last night. Have you been in touch with any of the boys over at Wood Doodles?
Yep.
Those guys are so good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look at the stuff they do.
The skill. I can do work with metal.
Yeah.
But when it comes to wood, I'm just
sure
Yeah, I can do 3 things with wood.
Yeah, they don't want me working over there. I'd measure 3 times and cut wrong. Wright Electric, Chris Wright, right here in the Granite City. One of the busiest master certified electricians outside of my dad that I've ever known. Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance. Jason, who is plowing and mostly Trash King trash removal, is his big thing this winter. But either one, get in touch with Jason Gauthier. Preston's Kia. Jason Trombley's going to be coming back on real soon. Can't wait for that. Granite City MMA. I don't. Have you been over there?
Yep. Oh, it's.
Can you believe that place?
They're doing an awesome job. I love big church buildings.
Just you walk through the inside of it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yep. And of course, Barslow Construction, who rarely gives their guys time off. They're just so busy. They're doing a huge job in East Barre right now. But temperatures, snow, do not stop those boys. Don't even slow them down.
No.
Hard working. Thanks for coming in, brother.
Yeah, good seeing you.
Appreciate it.
And have a good week, everyone.
Have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you very, very soon here on Aired Out.